I want to quickly talk to you about massive personal loans for very poor credit. We're going to do a compare and contrast between Best Egg, Upgrade, Upstart, and SoFi. You're going to love this conversation. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Studio Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to do a quick compare and contrast between a Best Egg, Upgrade, Upstart, and SoFi. The whole thing here is that when you have a loan, there are a lot of stuff you have to think about, right? You want to think about how much do I need? How much do I need? 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, 45 grand, whatever it is. And you have to think about, when you think about how much you need, you have to think about not only the APR, but also whether or not there are some origination fees, right? In some cases, there are some prepayment penalties. So those are things you have to think about. You want to think about your credit score. If you don't know your credit score, please, I want you to really get it now, because we all understand that the higher your credit score, the better APR you will receive. But we've seen time and again that a lot of folks out there don't even know their credit score. Can you imagine that? You're going to borrow and you have no idea what your credit score is. It is not acceptable. So one thing you want to do is you want to go to a website called annualcreditreport.com, where you can get a free copy of the credit report from all three credit bureaus, so you have an idea, a clear idea of what you are in terms of your credit score. And also think about getting pre-qualified, because you want to go for those sites where you only receive a soft pull, not a hard pull, but you get a soft pull where you're actually just kind of testing the waters, right? You see what's available out there without risking much, and you want to constantly compare and contrast loan terms from different lenders, including banks and credit unions, online lenders. In today's conversation, all the lenders we are reviewing, they're not banks, they're not credit unions, they're online lenders and alternative lenders, okay? And once you do this, please make sure that you complete all the application properly. You have things like your pay stubs, your tax returns, your bank statements, and personal identification. Before I get into the actual nitty-gritty, please check out this short video. It shows you our approach, our rigorous method when it comes to evaluating, categorizing, and reviewing personal loans and business loans on this show. Check this out. All right, let's start with Best Egg. So when you think about Best Egg, I want you to think about a platform that is very fast. I mean, you can get funding within 24 hours. That's fantastic. Loan amounts they will grant you between $2,000 and $50,000. Okay, the APR that you can expect there, 5.99% to 29.99%, and the FICO, the minimum FICO is 525, which is really good. I mean, not good. I mean, it's what I mean by good is that it is open, it is accessible to millions of Americans, all right? And the funding can be as short as within 24 hours, as long as you have all the paperwork. That's the important thing. You have to have the paperwork. So what are the pros and cons here? Pros, again, as I said, is very fast. The funding is fast. If you have a 525, chances are, if you have a FICO of 525, chances are you're going to qualify. You might not get the full amount of 50K, but guess what? You will get something in between, which is, at the end of the day, what you really need anyway. They do charge an origination fee, folks. They do charge an origination fee. So that's in our view, the drawbacks that comes with Best Egg. And at the end of the day, one thing you also need to think about is that the higher your score, obviously, the better terms you get, right? And they are based on, we all know that banking in the States is a matter of, is a state affair. So some states in the nation have specifics, I would say specific requirements. So for example, If you are a resident of Massachusetts, you must borrow at least $6,500. If you live in New Mexico and Ohio, you must borrow at least $5,000. If you live in Georgia, you must borrow at least $3,000. So even though I said the range is 2 grand to 50 grand, there are some exceptions. And so the good thing with Best Egg is that once you put in the info, you will receive a pre-quote, a pre-qualification quote, which will be based on your credit score and history, your income, your debt obligations, the loan amount, and the repayment terms. So once you actually decide to go ahead and just put your info, that's when they are going to do a hard pull. So at first they do a soft pull based on what you entered, right? You enter things like your loan amount, your gross annual income, your annual household income, the home tap, the debt information, right? That you have, your DTI, really, your debt to income ratio, and you have to put your personal info as well. This is very important. Let me talk to you now quickly about Upgrade. So when we think about Upgrade, we're thinking about another platform that is great. Loan amount that you can expect with Upgrade, $1,000 to $50,000. That's the range here, okay? The APR, now you have to sign up for autopay. If you don't sign up for autopay, you might be getting a higher rate. So you want to definitely you want to sign up with autopay. In other words, you have the loan amounts being the loan payments rather being deducted automatically from your checking account. So if you sign up to that, if you consent to that, you are going to have an APR ranging from 5.99% to 35.99%. And here the minimum FICO is 550. That's still reasonable, okay? Funding will happen within 12 hours and the loan terms 24 months all the way to 84. So the 2 to 7 years. This is pretty long. Now we always say that you don't want to go with a long loan term because obviously the payments might be smaller in the short run, but you will end up paying a lot of interest. So be careful with that. What are the pros and cons of Upgrade? So you have fast funding, minimum 12 hours, as I said. You have a wide constellation of loan amounts, and it is accessible to most borrowers. So this is pretty cool. And the drawbacks is that they also charge an origination fee like Best Egg. And another thing is they don't allow co-signers. So if you want to co-borrow, you can't do it through Upgrade. And the one thing I want to say here is that there are some limitations similar to what we had with Best Egg. So depending on where you live in the States, you will actually, the minimum loan amount will be $1,000 and the maximum will be $50,000. But in Georgia, the minimum is $3,000, okay? In Massachusetts, around $6,000, as I said before, okay? And the Upgrade loans are not available in Iowa, Washington, D.C., and West Virginia. So those are the 3 places where they don't play right now. And so to apply for a loan with Upgrade is pretty simple. Everything happens on the internet. You put your name, address, date of birth, and your income, and other what I call paraphernalia of personal information, and then they'll just give you some pre-quotes. Again, you will receive pre-quotes, so no hard pull right away. You'll get a soft pull, and then based on that, you can see whether or not you are interested. Their customer service is great. Same thing for Best Egg. I didn't talk about the customer service at Best Egg, but Best Egg has stellar customer service, and so does Upgrade. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm still having a conversation with you about humongous personal loans for very poor credit. So we are doing a comparative analysis between 4 players. So we have Best Egg, Upgrade. We also have Upstart and SoFi. I've already covered Best Egg and Upgrade. Let me now dig a little deeper into what Upstart is all about. So Upstart is great for borrowers with little or no credit history, okay? And the loan amount here oscillates between $1,000 and $50,000, and the APR 6.75 to 35.99%. Here they want a minimum FICO of 560, and the funding happens a little longer than what we have seen with Best Egg and Upgrade. So with Upstart, you have 48 hours, which is not the end of the world, really, if you think about it. You can wait. And the loan terms here, you have 3 or 5 years. So here we don't have a range, we don't have a continuum, right? We have two choices. It's either 36 months or 60 months, 3 or 5 years, which can be a little problematic for some people. What are the pros and cons here? So with Upstart, of course, you have relatively fast funding, right? They are accessible to many borrowers because think about the FICO. The FICO is what, 560? Pretty good. I mean, pretty good. I know. I mean, I've been there, done that. People think that 560 is that low. No, you can go lower than that. People have a 475. We have actually worked with clients and people who have 575, 475, sometimes 450. So, long story short, it is possible to start from quote unquote the bottom and go up. Okay. In terms of so another benefit is that there is no prepayment penalty on Upstart. And the cons, you have an origination fee and you have a high maximum APR of 35.99%. And this is something you need to think about. And in terms of qualifying, again, it's very simple. You do everything online, and you just have to have your social, your name, your address. You got to have a bank account. This is very important. They will do a soft credit check. And then once they give you your data, your quotes, your offers, you choose. Once you choose, that's when they'll do a hard credit check. I want to talk to you now about SoFi. And when you think about SoFi, and we love SoFi, really, by the way, we have extensively reviewed this platform on many occasions, and we believe this is one of the best out there. It's great for customer service and borrower education. And it's also great for loan amounts. The generosity here, you can actually borrow on SoFi up to $100,000. The APR will fluctuate between 5.99% and 19.99%, which is pretty good. And the minimum FICO they are requiring is 575, and the funding is a little longer. So this is something that SoFi is not really good at. So it takes longer. It takes about 4 days, so 96 hours to get funded. And the loan term 2 to 7 years. So if you are not in a rush, if you're okay with waiting a few days more for your loan, then SoFi is a great platform. What are the pros and cons? What are the pros and cons? So on SoFi, there are no fees, no prepayment fees, no prepayment penalty, no, none of that. The loan amount is kind of high. Think about it, 5,000 all the way to 100,000. Okay. The only platform we know right now that does that is a platform called Moneyvo, where you can borrow all the way to $100,000. All right, okay, and you have an excellent digital experience on SoFi, and they do accept joint applications, so you can co-borrow on SoFi. What about the cons? What are the drawbacks here? Now, the thing here is that in some cases, if you want to have for those large amounts up to $100,000, you need to have good credit. Okay, they're not lending you $100,000 if you have poor credit. No, but if you have poor credit, you can get something in between, and that's all we care about right now. Anyway, the range is there to show the potential of the platform. But yeah, and another drawback is that it takes time to receive the funds. Okay, so as I told you, 4 days, up to 4 days, it's a little long, but it's okay. Another thing I want to say here in terms of qualifying for a SoFi loan, you need to be at least 18 years or 19 if you are in Nebraska and Alaska, and you have to you got to have income, you got to have a bank account, you have to show your address, your kind of basic information, and the application happens entirely on the internet. Okay, they do have customer service number you can contact though, but it's better to do everything on the internet. And what they will do is they will dispatch the data to their lenders. Okay, and you'll have a soft pull at first, no hard pull, and once you agree to their offers that you have, the pre-qual offers that you have, you can go ahead and just click the loan offer you want, and then that's when they will do a hard pull. Okay, folks, you've heard it. So I have actually studied all those 4 players to you, right? So we have Best Egg, Upgrade, Upstart, and SoFi. The big question is which one to choose. Based on the conversation we had, based on the pros and cons, which one to choose, that answer depends on you. It depends on a lot of things. For example, where are you right now in your financial situation, in your financial journey? How early do you need the funds? For example, if you need the funds ASAP, you don't want to go to SoFi, even though they have better terms, they have longer terms, they have a larger amounts, right? So they'll give you the money within 4 days. But there are other players such as Best Egg, where the loan amount is capped at 50 grand, but you get your cash ASAP, like within 1 day or sometimes within 12 hours. Same thing for Upgrade. So is time important for you? Okay, is the amount paramount for you? How important is the amount for you? So if you want to make a large purchase and you have, say, fair credit, you might want to consider SoFi, for example. And another thing you need to think about is, what are the pre-qualification measures? What are the pre-qualification conditions? The thing is, all the four lenders that we evaluated today, they do have an analogous pre-qualification process. Everything happens online. You're being taken care of by an algorithm. So you input your info, you input your annual income, your pre-tax income, that is, where you live, your address, your name, your social, and your employment history. And then basically the algorithm at each of those four platforms will match you with lenders who might be interested in your profile. This is how it happens. Everything happens in the background. The machine takes care of everything. And so it's pretty analogous. In terms of the rates and the loan terms, SoFi offers better rates and better loan terms. Okay, so this is something to keep in mind. And you have to understand also is that you have to understand the fact that, and I have said this before, please, even though the credit score, the FICO score required, the minimum FICO scores are kind of low, before you enter any loan decision or any borrowing decision, please check and double check your credit score. You'll be surprised the kind of stuff that people find on their credit score in terms, I'm not even going into identity theft and all the derogatory items that actually that derive from that identity theft, or inaccurate transactions or inaccurate reports on your credit score. So please double check that, clean whatever dirt you have on your credit history before applying for a loan. This is very important. Okay, our choice in today's conversation is SoFi. We have given SoFi 10 over 10, Best Egg 9.5 over 10, Upstart 9.5 over 10, and Upgrade 9 over 10. We believe that SoFi offers the best in terms of lower rates, better terms, more generous loan amounts, and a more comprehensive, I would say, constellation of resources, including borrower education blogs. They have FAQs and all that kind of good stuff. Thank you so much, folks, for your attention today. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.